Hey, it is Battleborn Bets. I'm going to guide you through your football survivor pool all NFL season long in 12 minutes or less, guys. Promise, won't be any longer than that. And I'm telling you, 12 minutes. Guys, we've got through week one, right? All the heavy lifting, everything that we needed to prep for is complete. On to week two, where, of course, everyone starts to get very flexible with their picks. Everyone's feeling good about themselves. Into what's going to be what looks like a very heavy kind of a week in terms of a few favorites. We'll get to all that and more. Obviously, as we know, what are we here to talk about? Circa Survivor in a beautiful downtown Las Vegas is pretty much the format that we've entered in, and that's what we're going to focus on. We're going to take a look at everything that is Circa Survivor all season long. Some shout outs. First off, obviously, if you're here for the first time, thank you. Would like to go ahead and let you know what this show is going to about. Obviously, what we want to do is talk a little bit about how week one went in Circa Survivor. 573 entries were eliminated. So that's 18,145 survive into week number two. A winner-take-all prize of $18,718,000. This is, gentlemen, the lowest week one exit rate by far. Back in 2019, the previous low was 11.4%. We're out in week one. We're a little under 3%. So I don't know what this means for the rest of the season. I'm sure there's going to be a massive crevice at some point, but I don't know when. Let's go ahead and just actually enter right on through and talk a little bit about what did happen in week number one. John, you first here. You've had 3 picks. John can be found as Snap Judgment on Circa's Survivor pool entries. Also, where else can we be found? We love all our great friends over at Survivor Atlas. Thanks so much, guys. Survivor Atlas is an incredible online portal that you could view, not only, of course, on your desktop, but anywhere on your phone to track your picks, not only for Circa Survivor, but for Grandissimo and for other pools as well. But for the purpose of this, we're going to use a little bit. I'm going to screen share a bit and show a little bit of how great they are in not only tracking your picks, but tracking everyone's picks now that everyone's in there, making yourself a map. What, you mean to tell me you haven't made a map yet? What are you waiting for? Got to take a look and see what's going to happen after this week. John, your entries included some pretty sharp picks, some obvious ones as we led into it, but give me your thoughts here on week number one with how you decided not to go all in on one entry.
Yeah, just decided to, I thought it was a good practice, at least with the first week and the multiple entries, to spread the risk out. Here, took Arizona with one entry. Those who saw the game, that came down to the last play, actually, where Spencer Rattler almost tied the game at the end. So none of these games are easy, and they're not going to be for the rest of the year. This is a contest, or any Survivor contest is a sweat. So Arizona was able to pull it out. Jacksonville was another entry that I had. That would seem to be a little bit easier. Carolina didn't look good at all in week one. So Jacksonville was a solid choice. And then the third, everyone who saw the Denver game sweated through that one too. At one point, it was a 13-12 game with a rookie quarterback coming into Denver. So Arizona, Jacksonville, Denver were the selections last week. They all came through. We squeaked by week one. I think week one was probably the most difficult week in this contest, or any Survivor contest. Yeah. You just want to stay alive. The hope, going into Sunday, I was hoping that I'd get 2 through. I was lucky to get all 3 through. So it's just an exercise in futility here with these picks. You try to make good selections, you try to make logical selections, and week to week, and we'll try to do the same here in week 2.
We definitely will try to do the same for week 2, not only for our sakes here, but for yours as well. And so obviously, look, we're going to be taking a look at everyone's selections here as the weeks go by. Rob, you're up next here, and obviously you looked at what you needed to do to get through. Had yourself a pretty nice sharp pick there with Jacksonville. What are your thoughts there on that game in week number 1?
Well, if you recall, I was tossed up between Jacksonville and New England, and
Oof.
we all saw what happened with that New England game. So, kudos to me for making the wiser choice in hindsight. I think, if anything, this week showed that Carolina can be picked on. I definitely did not sweat that game at all, like you guys didn't. And I think with one pick, there's a little bit of a emphasis, in my opinion, to kind of be a little bit more contrarian than the rest of you guys, because one pick, I think, offers a unique challenge.
I think that's going to be what's going to be great about our show all season long is the spread that we have, right? Rob, you've got that one pick that you're hanging on to. And you did mention something about luck. Oh, I completely agree with you. So much of this is luck, probably far more luck than actual game knowledge, handicapping of each week as it goes by. You need so much luck in this. We took a look at, some of the entries that were made in, Rob, you've got your 1, John, you've got 3. I pushed all in with 10 this year again. And so half of them were on Denver. I did have Jacksonville. I had a Cincinnati. I had a Pittsburgh. Thank you, Chris Boswell. And then a Cincinnati, and that was also, kind of hairy. 160 players in Circa Survivor week number 1 shoved all 10 in on one team. Every all-in held, except for one player that took New England. Sorry. I hope you're still watching. But yes, 8,718 total entries.
I'd love to have that person come on our podcast as a guest and try to explain the logic there, because to me, I just don't get it.
Yeah, if you are watching, and obviously if you're watching and you're not the person that pushed all in, let us know in the comments below what you think of week number 1, or what you like for week number 2, or anything actually. Just let us know what your thoughts are here as we move into what's going to be week number 2. So week number 2, brief rundown for everybody. To me, it looks like Sunday is going to be a national revenge narrative day. If we take a look at the matchups, I like to see what comes ahead, and just without even looking at point spreads. You've got Chiefs Eagles, which is the Super Bowl rematch. You got Ben Johnson versus the Lions. What else here? Joe Flacco's back in Baltimore. McCarthy Penix. We talked about that pre-show, but that's a national title rematch. Never really talked college football, but that's exactly what that is. DK Metcalf versus the Seahawks. A little bit of revenge there, maybe. But I think what we like to do is maybe give us a little bit of a forecast. John, let's come back to you and see if you can predict where we think the majority of the picks this week are going to. The biggest point spreads obviously lie in the point spreads, then correlate to win percentage, but the biggest ones obviously lie in Baltimore hosting Cleveland as a now 12. I'm seeing a 12 over at Boyd. Circa's got a 12, 11 and a half. Caesars just popped to 12. But 11 and a half is pretty much 12, same number. Beyond that, where else we've got? We've got a 7 now appearing in Arizona. A 6 with Detroit, a 6 with Buffalo. Where do you see, knowing the format that is Circa with the holiday selections that we need to make, where do you see the number 1 pick going to for consensus, and at what percentage, John?
I'd have to probably say Baltimore. They do have some exposure on the holidays, I believe, which is a little bit of a wrinkle in this contest. Yep. But, as far as combined through all these types of contests, not just Circa, but anybody who might be watching with, that just does these with your friends or is in a smaller type situation. I think Baltimore is going to be heavily selected this week, probably close to 20%. That would be my guess.
20%. Okay.
The one thing with Baltimore is they have some high future value, so there is an option here to fade them this week. We all remember what happened last year in week 2 to the Ravens, lost to the Raiders at home in week 2, knocked a lot of people out, and then it was a very similar situation where they lost that game in Buffalo the week before.
Yeah.
On that Isaiah Likely non-toe tap touchdown.
Oh yes, that's right.
And then they came home and laid an egg to the Raiders in week 2, which was a real letdown. The interesting thing about the Ravens game this week is the division game against Cleveland. So and Cleveland kind of held their own against the Bengals this past week in week 1. So that's a dangerous game, but I think there's going to be a lot of exposure with Baltimore.
I love that you're picking out clear touchdown favorites, at least what bookmakers make as dangerous games. They're all dangerous games. As I said, there's just so much luck involved in all of these games. Doesn't matter how big a favorite you are, it could get knocked off, as we all know. Rob, John said it's going to be 20% or so. His forecast with the Baltimore Ravens. Where do you see the highest percentage, and on what team this week number 2?
I agree with Baltimore. I don't think it's going to be as high as 20% because I think a lot of people are going to be, I guess, under the impression that the Cleveland D is legit, and they made Joe Burrow look extremely pedestrian. I think it's, like I said, it's going to be under 20%, but division game. To me, it's just, if there's other options, I kind of want to go that way. There's another division game, with the Giants and Dallas, and I don't nearly stress that one as much as Baltimore Cleveland.
Okay.
So the Giants look terrible. There's no other way to slice it. They look terrible, and I'm surprised that spread is at 5.5 right now.
Low, isn't it?
At least a touchdown game.
Yeah, I thought it would come a little higher. It did open higher, and it's being bet down. And I'm not really sure why the market's bringing the spread down in the Dallas game. And by the way, just there's obviously a theory in place where you want to really stay away. John, you mentioned it in our first episode, actually in our intro episode. If you wanted to go back and listen to that, you'll see that as episode 0 on our YouTube channel. But if you look at some of the theories that exist, you want to really not really push all in on the off Sunday games. Thursday game, there's a lot of chaos that happens on those. The road favorite is also something that you may want to consider as hazardous. And then the division, for me, I kind of started to discount division. I really don't care about that much anymore. I just think if one team's better than the other, just take them. Rob, like you said in your case, Dallas. I think that Dallas is going to come a lot higher in terms of the spread on those selections than most. I probably actually think Dallas creeps somewhere near 22-23% of the entries this week.
Wow.
Really? Okay.
And that's something that, obviously we'll find out, come late Saturday night when Circa reveals all of them.
Well, it's probably because they're not going to be, they don't have much future value.
That's a great point, right? And so let's take a look here as, we see, again, thanks so much to our friends over at Survivor Atlas as we see their forecasts. And we see Baltimore as a 27% projected selection rate in week number 2. Arizona, 19.7, and Dallas, 19.1, with the Rams as the only other selection over 10% for the spread. So I think it's going to be much higher on Dallas. Both of you think significantly lower on Baltimore. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens Saturday night with the spread in terms of the forecast. All of these things, and by the way, these tools are really fantastic. I'm just going to go and move on and pull up my selections here, because if you take a look at, we mentioned exactly everything that we could do here. And I wasn't kidding. You can actually map out your selections here. These selections can very easily be edited at any moment. I just went ahead and loaded up my map here with Denver in one of my entries now gone. You could sort by week. So you could see here, obviously, Baltimore here with an 84% chance of winning the game, correlated to an 11.5 point spread. Hosting Cleveland, 100% is available on Baltimore, which is a pretty shocking leading into week number 2. So I'm probably going to now go ahead and discuss a little bit about what we want to do with week number 2. We talked a little bit about week number 1. Rob, let's go to you first. What I want to do is, you have the one selection here. We could see here in week number 2 who the favorites are. Who are your nominees for your selection? First, let's go ahead and start off with that. One pick.
Right now, I am torn between Arizona, Dallas, and Minnesota. Those are the 3 that are in contention for my one selection. Again, stressing that contrarian mindset that I have with that one. Arizona looks to be, pretty heavily taken. So realistically, it's either Dallas or Minnesota. Unfortunately for me, with the Giants and Tommy Cutlets from 2 years ago, knocking myself and John out in week, I believe it was 12, if I'm not mistaken. It was the week before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
We had a nice path going to the rest of week 18, and Tommy Cutlets had to happen.
Wait. Are you saying that your pick in week number 2 is being altered by something that happened in the past that has nothing to do with what's happening?
You're exactly right, but it stings.
Tommy Cutlets still has influence.
It's giving me pause, that's for sure.
These are great nominees. Obviously, you need to make one pick. We'll come back to you with your final selection, as I want to roll over here now to John. John can be found as Snap Judgment on the Circa Survivor selection pool. You could find him, of course, on Survivor Atlas. Just go ahead and type in Snap, and you'll probably find all 3 of his selections there. John, who are your nominees for week number 2 here?
Still kind of a little bit undecided, but I'll tell you right now, Arizona is just sticking out to me this week. They're back home. I think Carolina's going to have a real problem with. They had a problem last week with Trevor Lawrence, for crying out loud. Kyler Murray is just a different quarterback. He's a mobile quarterback. I think that the Cardinals have a lot more weapons than. I can't say they have more weapons than Jacksonville does, but I mean, McBride and Marvin Harrison had a pretty good game last week, and James Conner and Kyler Murray using his legs at home is a very appealing option. And Arizona also has some low future value moving forward. So I think Arizona is an interesting selection this week. So I'm probably going to use one there. I'm leaning a little towards Detroit this week. Again, that's a division game. The only thing holding me back is maybe this Ben Johnson angle. Not sure where I'm going to go with that. I think Detroit is an interesting selection. They are a Thanksgiving team. If you're in, obviously, Circa Survivor, you got to be mindful. And we should probably mention that in that contest, you do have double picks on the holiday weeks. So be very mindful of the teams that are playing those 2 weeks, which is week 13 and week 17, I believe.
Yep, there it is.
It's the Christmas week and the Thanksgiving week.
You don't want to get stuck being forced to take a dog that day.
Yeah, so
or having taken no one, right? That's another thing. It's gotta have someone.
Yep, you need to be really mindful of the teams that are playing on those weeks, and but Detroit is another one, ironically, that might be in play. I think Dallas is another one that has low future value. I'm just looking at teams that have low future value versus teams that have higher one, like the Ravens. So I'm pretty 99% sure that I'm going to fade Baltimore this week. Not to say that would be a bad selection if you're in a different type of pool where only need to pick one team each week and don't have multiple picks. And some of these contests are crazy with the multiple picks, but and there's even contests out there where you get a strike, so if you lose, you can get back in. I've heard of those too, but I think I'm going to fade Baltimore. So I would say the top three for me are Detroit, Arizona, and Dallas. That would be my
And again, I
early
think your
assumption.
approach is different if you're in like a splash contest where you have to make 2 selections starting from week 12.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a completely wild variant that I don't think my heart is ready for. So I'm glad that I'm not having to make 2 picks any time in any particular week.
Sure.
Really great choices there, John, and a great breakdown. I'm gonna have to probably agree with you. There's not going to be much play for me from my perspective. I looked at the things that I looked at is, and I just have a different philosophy than others, but I do look forward, and I specifically want to make sure I never really touch much that's happening on Thanksgiving and or Christmas. So knowing that Philadelphia is going to be the top favorite on Thanksgiving, hosting Chicago. Yes, Baltimore plays there, and it'd be really nice to have both of them available because you never know what might happen, injuries. I'll probably still end up taking half my picks on Baltimore. It's going to be Baltimore pretty heavy, followed by the Arizona Cardinals. I completely agree with you, John, there on that matchup there. It's simply, I don't think Carolina is going to beat many teams on a neutral field this year. They've got to be bottom 3, in my opinion. And I am going to probably take more picks on Dallas, which does lean towards my percentage on how many do take the Dallas Cowboys. So that's going to be my breakdown there. We'll do some heavy Baltimore Ravens, Arizona Cardinals, Dallas Cowboys. I may have one more pick, some on some other team just to find a little bit of future value, but it's not one of these weeks that I want to really get too wacky. I think I just want to go and make sure I take all 10 of these eggs and move them into week number 3. That's my goal here. So we'll take a look and see what happens with that, but expect me to have at least 5 of my 10 on the Baltimore Ravens, with backups on the Cardinals and the Cowboys. Rob, you kind of gave us a little bit of gray area here. Let's start to fill in some color. One pick. Who's it going to be?
I think I have to go Arizona with this one.
Okay.
I mean, Russell Wilson, we're literally one throw away from seeing Jackson Dart. And as a giant, as a person that fears Jackson Dart because of the whole Tommy Cutlets experience, I think Jackson Dart's that dynamic that he could conceivably come in and win a game, especially a division game.
Yeah.
So
they're a desperate franchise right now. So
yeah, they are.
I agree. The coach is probably fighting for his, his life.
I think
now.
he knows he's on a short leash.
Yeah.
I think he knows he's all but gone. So I think Carolina's not deviating from Bryce Young.
No.
I think we could confidently pick Arizona here and be content with, living with the consequences of that selection. So I'm taking Arizona.
Sherman content. All right. So so this is good. Well, I'll recap towards the end of the show. Who's then, and John, I think I already answered my question here. Who's definitely on upset watch here in week number 2? John, you mentioned you want to stay away from Baltimore. You're probably thinking, well, you would like to see them eliminated, obviously, if you're going to go with your 3 selections. But who's honestly on upset watch in week number 2? Who's the favorite that you think is very ripe for a loss here?
There's a couple. I think Buffalo's ripe for a loss.
Okay.
I would be careful if you're selecting Buffalo this week. They look great. Don't get me wrong.
Of course.
The Jets.
No, they look great in the fourth quarter. They did not look great prior to that.
The Jets. I mean, they lost. The Jets lost that game on special teams. That Xavier Gibson fumble killed them. So I could definitely see the Jets keeping close. Not to say that they're going to win. Obviously, the Jets can jet, as they say. But and Josh Allen is on a different level than anybody on that team.
Right.
But I mean, they kept it close. Would I be shocked if the Jets won? No, not at all. The Jets did beat Buffalo at home. Xavier Gibson touchdown return in overtime, if you guys remember properly, in week 1 after Aaron Rodgers actually, it was 2 years ago when Aaron Rodgers got hurt. That game always comes back to me. That was 2 years ago, granted. But the Jets usually play Buffalo tough. I don't think there's going to be any weather issues on Sunday, so it should be good. I mean, another upset, like we talked about, maybe the Browns, who knows? Another one could be, maybe the Titans come out and play real well against the Rams at home. We'll see. I mean, everything's speculative, boys.
Rob, you got you have a favorite, Rob, that's ripe for a loss this week, number 2? Better not say Arizona.
No, I think I think Cleveland is going to cover that spread.
Okay, but not win.
Not sure. I mean, we saw Vegas go in there, and it sets up to be a very similar situation. I know everybody's going to say year to year it's completely different, but same crippling loss. Ravens suffered a crippling loss, and it's setting up to be something that I don't want a part of.
I want no part of, at least in week number 2, the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, really great Monday night game, massive comeback. Fans of the Vikings have to be super psyched to watch J.J. McCarthy recover from a craptastic start of the game to come back and rally the team to victory. But I'm high on Atlanta. I know they lost and they kind of looked slop at the end, even though they had the chance to bring it home. I think that Atlanta is far, far better than I think the general public is giving them credit for. And I think that Atlanta late Sunday night picks up the win in Minnesota. So obviously this is not a show about that from a point spread perspective. But if you are looking to take the Minnesota Vikings in week number 2 of Survivor, I ask you this: why? That's always
the only
my
reason
question.
they won
why?
is because the Bears did Bears things. You look at it that way.
Exactly. I do agree
it's
with
not
that.
It's not an indication of how good Minnesota is. It's an indication of how bad the Bears are.
The Bears are. I'm going to buy that. I'm buying all of that, actually. So it does make an awful lot of sense. To recap, as we get near the end of our fun episode number 2, John, I'm shocked. I am. I'm surprised. Not even a sniff of the Fighting Lamar Jacksons. It's Arizona, Dallas, and Detroit for snap judgment. Rob is in on the Arizona Cardinals, and I will be pretty heavy on Baltimore myself, with some Arizona, some Dallas. I may find one other, but I think that's going to be the way I'll spread it as well. So, pretty neat show, guys. That went by in a real quick blink.
12 minutes.
12 minutes. 12 minutes. Aren't you happy you stuck around for just these 12 minutes, everybody?
12 minutes on the slow or the faster speed.
If you watch it on 2 times speed, it's 12 minutes.
It'll be 12 minutes. Yeah.
Well, guys, everyone, thank you so much. If you enjoyed, if you saw everything that you'd like to comment on, please, the comments are wide open here on the episode down below. Bring your comments. We'd love to see what you think about everything that came with week number 2. And obviously with week number 3, we're hoping to bring all of our picks into week number 3.
And like Rob said, smash that subscribe button.
Hold on a second. I have to do it. Where am I? There we go. Okay. I had to do it there. Like and subscribe us. We have an awful lot of fun. And again, hey, thanks so much everyone first off to everyone at Circa for creating an amazing contest. We love you all so much. Can't wait to make our way back down to Vegas to immerse ourselves in everything that is the casino and
hopefully pick up
stadium
a green jacket
swim
along the way.
Pick up a nice jacket. towards the end of the season. That would be pretty nice. And
Who knows? Maybe we'll do one of our episodes live from Circa.
Actually, that has to happen. That has to happen. So count on that. We'll do one live from there. Actually, we could probably end up doing a live stream as an episode from there. That'd be a fantastic idea. And thank you to everyone creating Survivor Atlas. You guys are amazing.
Yes.
The work that you guys have done to create this portal is second to none, in our opinion. We
making our lives a lot easier.
So much easier. Thank you for creating it and sharing it to everyone. Makes things much easier. So to everyone that tuned in, that's our episode number 2 of Circa Survivor in 12 minutes or less. Howard. Thank you.